Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, and I am back. Today. Anyway, listen, really appreciate all the unbelievably nice messages I got yesterday in regards to episode number 315. And I hope you guys called your parents either yesterday or today. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to episode 315 and then call your parents at the end of that episode. But anyway, I really do appreciate it. And man, that was definitely, that was like my favorite episode ever. It absolutely was. So anyway, although this one friend of mine said, dude, I loved it, but why did you start the episode by telling us to drop bombs on our moms? I was like, damn, that's a good point. I mean, I do like that lyric from the NWA song, dropping bombs on your moms, beep car alarms. I love that track. But you're right. That's like, why would we drop bombs on our moms? That's like, that like defeats the purpose of Mother's Day. Kind of ruins Mother's Day, actually. All right, let's get back into the mix, man. Holy mackerel, you take a few days off of talking geopolitics and the world is upside down. And I have to say, man, it is President Trump. President Trump is throwing some serious curveballs into everything, actually. I am very, very confused to an extent with what's going on. And not only President Trump, but then two of his chief MAGA allies, Marjorie Taylor Greene, whom, man, she is making her appearances on the DSD, and Matt Gaetz. And so let me play you a couple things. All right, let's start off with this clip from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, remember last week, I believe it was last week, I kind of read you the tweets that she had sent out on Twitter where, she's basically, last week she did not mention Israel, but she was saying that she represents the base and the base is not happy, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, I mean, my spidey senses are definitely, they are pulsating because it just doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense because these guys are super uber, obviously Republican, and then that makes them, beholden to the evangelical Christian base of the Republican Party, which is huge. And it controls the Republican Party in many ways. And it also controls the purse strings. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, listen to this.
I don't think we should be fighting wars on behalf of Israel. And many Americans agree with that. I'm one of those Americans that are really sick and tired of the narrative that we're constantly told that we're supposed to hate some country that's overseas that maybe we've never been to. We don't know anything about that country, but we're told that they're the greatest threat to our freedoms and our democracy and that we have to go to war with them. I've never seen a Houthi or a Houthi or however you pronounce it. I don't even know what they look like. I haven't seen them back home in Rome, Georgia, where I live. I haven't seen them in Washington, D.C. And I keep saying that how is this a threat to everyday Americans when they are not threatening us here at home on our homeland?
All right. So again, I mean, that is the absolute first time I have ever heard, quite frankly, any Republican be that brazen about basically saying, why are we fighting Israel's war and why are we, again, what's that word I'm looking for? Unequivocally backing them. Honestly, I'm very surprised at that. I'm really surprised at that. And I'm so surprised that I don't really trust it. First of all, Marjorie Taylor Greene is so in Trump's pocket and she's like the president of the Trump fan club. I never ever in a million years would believe that she goes rogue and decides to, like, stand up for what she thinks is right. I don't believe that. I think that what you just heard was absolutely signed off on by not only Trump, but whomever is the power base in the Republican Party. Now, why they did that, I don't know. I mean, I really don't. Like, obviously, I've said this several times on the podcast, if you guys have been listening, that there is an awakening of the MAGA base. Because here's the thing. If you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal, if you're a lefty, thanks Greg Stoker, whatever you are, if you're an independent, if you're whatever, they don't care about you. Like, Trump doesn't care about you. The Republican Party doesn't care about you. And they don't care if you're mad at the way they're doing things. They don't care. The only people they care about is that MAGA base, like that hardcore MAGA base. They care about that. And I've told you guys, like, that base is becoming unhappy. So now, and again, what they're unhappy about, and again, this is just calling a spade, and I definitely do not mean to insult any of my Jewish brethren that are listening, but this is seriously just calling a spade. They're not happy because in their eyes, it has become apparent that Trump has embraced MIGA, make Israel great again, and not MAGA, make America great again. I mean, that's what it is. There are hundreds of these videos now on TikTok, on Instagram. I mean, it's loud. It's what's that one song? Let's get loud. Let's get loud. Dun, dun, dun. I forget who sings that, but it's loud. The crescendo has risen. And so all of the sudden, you've got the Republicans. And again, what makes it a little shady is the people that are saying it. First of all, that was Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, chief MAGA cheerleader. And she went on the Young Turks show, which is a show run by like, what do they consider themselves? Maybe progressive centrists. I mean, I don't even know what to define that, but Cenk Uygur and they're called the Young Turks. It's a show that honestly, I can't even believe Marjorie Taylor Greene got invited to go on, let alone goes on. So that right there is weird to me. Now, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm a big fan of discourse with the opposite side. That's why, honestly, I support Gavin Newsom's podcast, even though I think that's being done for ulterior motives. But again, I don't have a problem with Gavin Newsom having Steve Bannon on or Charlie Kirk, like these two big conservative voices. I think opposing sides should absolutely converse. Why not? Geez, we're adults, for Christ's sake. But I don't know, man. It's strategic. And now I'm going to play for you a clip from Matt Gaetz. Remember Matt Gaetz? He makes a little more sense because he is the one Republican, along with Thomas Massie and Rand Paul, that has been pretty, I wouldn't say outspoken about Israel, but he's never been like drink the Kool-Aid supportive, right? And so this is him on a podcast by this guy, Matin Eden, who's a big Jewish podcaster, actually. So this is like really interesting. So Matin is interviewing Gaetz, and he's basically talking about like the Israeli lobby organization AIPAC.
If I want to get into government, do I have to support Israel?
The Israel lobby has an incredible power over the decisions that government makes. And what we've seen is on the left or on the right, if you question the policies of the Israeli government legitimately, people will accuse you of anti-Semitism.
Really quick, let me jump in. What makes this one even weirder is Gaetz has sunglasses on, and then there's a third person that's like at the table who's dressed like a Hamas militant. And I can't even tell. The person doesn't move, so I don't know if it's a mannequin or a real human being. But Gaetz has sunglasses on. There's like a Hamas dude at the table. It's just weird. It's a weird setup. And again, this Mattson guy, he's a big time, I don't know how big he is, but I think he's a pretty popular, Israeli born Jewish podcaster. And so I don't know, I'll have to try to watch the entire clip because this section is interesting. All right, let's listen to the rest.
And that is weird and wrong and kind of unlike anything else we see anywhere else. Now, I got to tell you, no one's asked me the question that directly. And the truth is, if you oppose the U.S.-Israel relationship, you face tremendous headwinds to get into government, not just appointed government, but elected government as well.
All right. So there you have Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz. Now let's listen to the big kahuna himself. Well, actually, we'll listen to something about Trump in a second. But there was a American Israeli hostage named Eden Alexander who was released. And so this is Trump's tweet on that. He says, I am happy to announce that Eden Alexander, an American citizen who has been held hostage since October 2023, is coming home to his family. I am grateful to all those involved in making this monumental news happen. This was a step taken in good faith towards the United States and the efforts of the mediators, pay attention, and the efforts of the mediators, Qatar and Egypt, to put an end to this very brutal war and return all living hostages and remains to their loved ones. Hopefully, this is the first of these final steps necessary to end this brutal conflict. I look very much forward to that day of celebration. So in his tweet, Trump mentions Qatar and he mentions Egypt. And he makes zero mention of Israel. All right, so that's like Trump's tweet. Now let's listen to this clip from Jimmy Dore that talks about this. And actually, this clip with Jimmy Dore, he's got that Catherine Austin Fitch lady whom I know I played a clip of hers in maybe Friday or Thursday's episode or whatever. But give this a listen, man. Man, it's just, I don't know. It's like when everybody starts moving in one direction, that's when my spidey senses go off. Yes, I have spidey senses. I really do. That's when they go off, and that's when I'm like, okay, this feels too coordinated. It really does. Now, again, Jimmy Dore is not part of that coordination by any means, but I don't know if this Catherine Austin Fitz lady is. So listen to this.
It seems like recently Donald Trump has been sticking the thumb in the eye of Netanyahu and Israel, especially with how he's approaching Yemen now. He's got to deal with Yemen, where he stopped bombing Yemen if Yemen doesn't bomb our ships, and he doesn't care if they bomb Israel's ships anymore. What's your take on this?
All right, before Catherine gives her take, let me just remind you, like literally as recent as I think like 10 days ago or a week ago, remember Trump and then other people, they were like, the Yemen, the Houthis need to stop or we're going to blow them off the planet. I mean, it was visceral and vitriol, two of my favorite words. I don't know why those are two of my favorite words. Those are like not nice words, but I like saying them because they're, I don't know, they sound good. But again, remember, like all of the sudden, he's completely flipped his views on Yemen. All right, so let's listen to Catherine.
I want to see three things from a president who's really serious about this. The first is he makes AIPAC register as a foreign lobby.
Okay.
Second, he requires disclosure by any government official or member of Congress as to whether they have dual citizen passport or citizenship in any other country, Israel included. And third, we stop funding the genocide in Gaza. Netanyahu can only do what he's doing because we're funding it.
All right, really quick, I'll try to go and listen to that entire interview too. But I mean, those are three sticking points that have really emerged. The concept of why AIPAC is the only foreign lobby. And by the way, it's the only foreign lobby from another country that has not been required to register as a foreign agent. And by the way, I don't know if I've ever talked about that, but that happened right before Kennedy was assassinated. And that's one of the reasons why, the rumor mill is so rampant about the Mossad and Israel being part of the Kennedy assassination, along with the CIA and the military-industrial complex, because he wanted to pull out of the war in Vietnam. But on the Israeli side, back in 1962 or 63, Kennedy absolutely was telling David Ben-Gurion that they had to register as a foreign agent. And when you register as a foreign agent, you no longer are able to make political contributions. And so again, just to connect these dots for you guys, that is the big thing right now in our political system. And by the way, that's across Democrats and Republicans. Every single Democrat and Republican, every single one except Thomas Massie. I think Rand Paul even unfortunately took some AIPAC money. So I think it's only Thomas Massie that has never taken money from AIPAC, which is the American Israeli Lobby. And so anyway, what she's talking about is a really big deal. The other thing that she talked about is, many of our Congress people have dual citizenships. So whether that's a dual citizenship to Canada or to Israel, I guess the way you have to think about it is, what if it was a dual citizenship with China? Like, would you be cool with that? Or even a dual citizenship with Iran? I just realized I have dual citizenship with Iran. I probably can never be part of Congress then. Okay, there you have it. No Congress for me. But my point is, again, as an American, if you are truly all about America first, you should be on board with that. You should say, yes, I don't want my congressmen or my senators having dual citizenship, because dual citizenship means dual loyalties, and that's an agency issue. So anyway, okay, I forgot the third thing she said. What was the third? Oh, and stop funding the genocide in Gaza. I mean, again, that's what I'm telling you, man. This noise has gotten loud, and it's gotten loud in that MAGA base. And I'll tell you who it's gotten super loud with is Christians. The Christians that maybe are not evangelicals or not part of Zionists. I actually did a great interview yesterday with a Pastor Stephen Henderson that this dude was a live wire, man. This is going to be a really interesting episode. I'll try to get it out relatively quick, but the Christian base in the United States has really kind of stepped up. And again, that is a massive, massive part of the United States and a massive part of Trump's base and Trump's MAGA base. And they're the ones that have basically been making the most noise about really Gaza. And they are calling it a genocide. And they are saying, why are we sending our money? Why are we sending our bombs there? So anyway, it's interesting, man. It's interesting. All right, so let's listen to the rest of this from Catherine Fitz.
So you're not sure Trump's for real about this.
If you're going to fund a genocide and then play this little theater, to me, it's only theater. So if Trump is providing massive amounts of money to Israel so Netanyahu can do everything he's doing while he's saying that he's not speaking to him, I don't think Netanyahu cares whether he speaks to him or not. He cares that he funds him.
All right. I don't think she is controlled opposition or on the take. I think she's legit, because that's exactly right. At the end of the day, the buck stops. If the buck stops, then this is real and this is serious. And so if you guys remember, I think when was it? A couple episodes ago or whatever, I talked about Trump basically using the Biden playbook. And remember what the Biden playbook was. The Biden playbook was to come on the news and yell and be mad and say, you have to stop this genocide and blah, blah, blah. You have to let in humanitarian aid, and do nothing. And then basically continue to support financially and militarily Netanyahu. And that's what Biden did. And then he got called out on it last week or 10 days ago by the Israeli media. Like a whistleblower came to the Israeli media. I forget if it was Haaretz or the Jerusalem Post or the Times of Israel. But this guy basically came out and said, literally at no point during the past 18 months until Trump took over and was inaugurated, at no point did President Biden's administration ever tell Netanyahu to even do a ceasefire or to do anything. So the question becomes, and I brought it up once before and I'll bring it up again. I mean, is Trump taking a page out of his playbook? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you know, the Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Matt Gaetz, all of this stuff, it's very coordinated and there are key players that are involved. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Actually, let me read this post that I did. I said, why is every media outlet suddenly saying Trump turned on Israel? Is it a genuine shift or a carefully timed narrative? When the messaging is too unified, there's usually more going on beneath the surface. It's not always consensus. Sometimes it's coordination. Okay, so that was a post by me on the DSD IG, Ray D on the DSD IG. All right, the other thing that's going on is you might have heard this in the news that Qatar wants to basically gift Trump a $400, I believe, $million Air Force One, like a retrofitted new Air Force One that's supposed to be incredible. Whenever I hear like ridiculously outrageous stuff like that, I'm like, that's a Don Jr. deal. Don Jr. definitely like brokered that deal for sure. I don't know why. I feel like of all Trump's kids, Don Jr. is like the shadiest one that's kind of, you know, maybe the Hunter Biden type of the family. Eric, the other son, I think he's kind of dumb. I don't know. He kind of comes off dumb to me. And then I think Ivanka is very smart. I do. I think her and Jared Kushner are probably the most intelligent and definitely the most strategic and well-connected globally among the elite and the power structure in this world for sure. And then I do like Barron Trump. I do like Barron. I want to hear the kid talk. I'm actually very interested to like hear him speak. And I literally have never heard that kid speak. I mean, I know I think he's on the spectrum or maybe even autistic, but I would like to hear that kid speak at some point. But anyway, so this $400 million jet plane that Qatar was going to gift Trump, I mean, if they accept this, that is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. And not even, you know, the chatter online, the simple chatter is, oh my God, they'll have that plane so bugged, but with so many, you know, microphones, they're going to use it as a spy machine. Then you've got other people saying they're going to somehow rig it to like blow up on the 25th flight or something like that. I mean, obviously, yes, I could see both of those being plausible, but I could see them being able to take precautions that wouldn't be able to happen. In my opinion, it's just bad optics. It's like to accept a gift like that from, quite frankly, a country that is inferior to you and financially, you know, much less powerful than the United States, the great United States. It's just a weak look. Like, it's just weak, you know, like Qatar should not be giving us the airplane that our president flies around in. It's just ridiculous, actually. It truly is ridiculous. And so when these stories come out in the media, again, I think they're on purpose. I think they are a distraction, because if they were not, I don't think Trump's ego would ever even want this to happen. You see what I mean? Like don't underestimate when it's not political and when it's not being done on purpose. Don't underestimate the size of the ego. And so the ego, it absolutely would be like, no way. I'm not going to accept a gift from Qatar. Like we'll create our own plane that's 1,000,000 times nicer. Who do they think they are, telling me that they can create a better plane than I can? Again, I mean, that's the truth. Like, that's the truth. So when I hear stuff like this, honestly, I'm at a point where I don't even believe that it's even plausible. I mean, I guess it's plausible, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think instead it's being done to divert attention so something else can happen. I think, again, it's just a huge distraction. All right, you know what? We've talked about him so much. I guess we should hear from the man himself. So Trump and Elon Musk, this is funny. I was literally thinking earlier today, I was like, man, you don't hear about Elon Musk anymore. Maybe his little 15 minutes of fame in politics is over. But it's not, because Trump and Elon Musk traveled to Saudi Arabia and they had a huge meeting with, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. I think they call him MBS. And dude, everybody that's got powers has like a 3-letter nickname. I mean, I guess if I get that much power, I could go by, Ray D's good. Yeah, I feel like Ray D would be fine. Okay, so all right, so listen to Trump here. This is, again, it's interesting. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I guess the theme of this episode is I don't know what's going on. It's absolutely throwing me for a little bit of a loop, but I am not one of those people that immediately is like, see, I told you, Trump played 4D chess on everybody. I don't think so. I think this is all, I guess I think that there's an underlying ulterior motive with kind of what's going on. But listen to this.
Reaffirm this important bond, and we take the next steps to make our relationship closer, stronger, and more powerful than ever before. It is more powerful than ever before. And by the way, it will remain that way. We don't go in and out like other people. It will remain that way.
So now that we don't go in and out like other people, I didn't pick up on it, but when I read through the comments, supposedly that was a jab at Netanyahu, another jab at Netanyahu. So at this same gathering in, I believe it's in Saudi Arabia, and again, it's being attended by really the Crown Prince and then obviously a bunch of other people, I'm sure. Trump talked about how he's removing all sanctions against Syria. Okay. Now, we've talked a little bit about Syria and the whole overthrowing of Bashar al-Assad and all of that, and the fact that Syria now is being run by a guy that used to be like an Al-Qaeda guy, which is crazy. And remember, Al-Qaeda supposedly did 9/11. I mean, this shit's kind of insane. It's kind of insane that like the bad guy now is the good guy. I mean, honestly, that really is what it is. If you want to simplify it, it's like one of the main leaders of Al-Qaeda that, again, supposedly was responsible for 9/11 is now completely rebranded himself. Remember, this is the guy that I talked about that kind of got the Zelensky PR makeover and kind of looks like Zelensky, went from wearing fatigues to like Tom Ford suits now for all his interviews and all that. So now Trump has completely removed all sanctions on Syria. So this is like huge for Syria. This turns Syria into, I mean, honestly, this like unleashes probably unbelievable economic momentum for the country of Syria. But again, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's bad. What I'm saying is it's interesting that that country now is being run by a former Al-Qaeda guy. Okay, you know what? I meant to play this earlier, but let's listen to this clip from this Alex Jones guy. I think I haven't played very much Alex Jones on this podcast, but again, this is another guy that is a enormous voice in the conservative Republican space. And I don't know how close him and Trump are, but this dude's got a lot of clout and he's got a lot of followers, and he has that thing InfoWars. If you're not familiar, again, if you can't place who I'm talking about, I think you'll be able to place him as soon as you hear him. But let's listen to him as well.
Look, Trump behind the scenes, from multiple high-level sources, detests Netanyahu, knows he's really corrupt, is concerned he's going to pull some type of provocation, was the term I was told, which means false flag, to drag us into full war with Iran, and then all the scenarios the Pentagon tells him and Hegseth, who's pro-Israel, just not pro-stand down on October 7th so you have an excuse to start World War III. Not pro-insanity. And Hegseth is against this war.
Okay, let me jump in really quick. So again, I mean, this is interesting what he talked about and then what he's about to talk about. And you guys know I never really thought Pete Hegseth was qualified for that position. And to be honest with you, everything I've seen from Pete Hegseth, I've always thought he was a warmonger, and I always thought he was like one of those people that would be more than willing to like blow every Muslim country off the planet. Maybe I'm wrong with that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe, again, like I said, it's a misdirection. But listen to the rest of what Alex Jones talks about, because now he's bringing in, remember Trump fired that Mike Waltz guy, and he fired him because, again, supposedly he was conspiring with Netanyahu. So, I don't know if this is all like misdirection by design, or if we should stop trying to read into it and realize, okay, maybe there is some infighting in the group. But listen to this.
And because he's smart, he's been on the ground over there a bunch. And so the Israel lobby goes after him through Waltz, who added supposedly Goldberg on there from the Atlantic, and that is the Mossad CIA crossover group. I told you that 15 years ago. And that was all targeting Hegseth. That's why they found out and removed Waltz.
All right, so again, let me connect these dots. He's talking about that whole SignalGate situation where, again, this Mike Waltz guy added this random reporter from the absolute, like, Democratic, very, very pro-Israel Atlantic publication. And I mean, that was so shady to me. I thought that thing was such a scam, the way they did that. But basically, he's saying that Mike Waltz did that because Mike Waltz was in cahoots with Netanyahu, and then they wanted to make Hegseth look bad because, again, supposedly, according to this, I guess, stream of narrative from Alex Jones, Hegseth is not ready to support Israel in a war with Iran. It's interesting, man. This is definitely interesting. All right, let's listen to the rest of Alex Jones, but I did want to connect those dots with that SignalGate.
And so Trump also knows that the new app they're trying to tell everybody to use, again, owned by Israel magically. So Trump knows Netanyahu's spying on him. Trump knows Netanyahu's got operatives inside the White House, and he's removing them.
All right, that's all that. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's definitely interesting when you start to, I guess it's two ways we can think about it. They're all in on it together, and they're trying to lessen the heat they're taking from their gigantic Christian MAGA base, because that base is not happy with the focus on Israel, and also not happy with, I guess, finally not happy with like seeing innocent women and children being killed. Or there genuinely is infighting, and it's genuinely a situation where, yes, they're all on the same team, but now they are splintering into two sides. I mean, it's similar to like the whole Biden Kamala Harris stuff. I honestly always thought those guys were always copacetic and on the same team, including the Obamas and all that, and the Clintons and all that. And I don't think that's the case. I mean, at Jimmy Carter's funeral, it was very clear there was bad blood between Jill Biden and then Kamala Harris. There was bad blood between the Clintons and the Obamas. They didn't talk at that funeral because Obama was like BFFing with Trump at that. So I don't know, man. I used to think that the big picture groups that were part of, I guess the elite in each party would always be aligned, but maybe it gets to a point where there's splintering among those as well. So anyway, I hope all that that really does get you guys up to speed with what's going on. This is absolutely kind of, not on the bingo card. How about that? How about that expression? The old not on a bingo card expression. Let's use that. All right, let's shift gears. The Diddy trial has started. Diddy and all his baby oil. And so there's a gal, Emily Knows Nothing, I think. I forget what this gal's name is. But let's hear her. She's been doing some pretty funny reporting from New York. So let's hear what she has to say here.
Cassie Ventura told the story today about a time allegedly they were at the Hermitage Hotel in Beverly Hills, and there was a blow-up pool in their hotel room filled with baby oil. And Diddy asked her to get in it, and she had on lingerie and even her heels, and it was this blow-up pool. We learned basically today just that he really loves baby oil. They focused on baby oil so much that finally the defense said objection.
All right. I had to cut the rest of it off because I think she was talking while walking, so it became super windy. But I guess Diddy really did dig baby oil, man. I guess baby oil's nice. Definitely used it a few times. But I don't know, man. It's messy. It's messy. It's definitely messy. All right. I think on that note, I'm gonna wrap up today. 36 minutes. All right, listen, tomorrow on Thursday, I am gonna release the episode with Caleb Dix. It's a live one. It's a live one. This is the U.S. Marine that basically spent 5 years in the United States Marine and just got back from the West Bank. Now, remember, the West Bank is the part of Israel that is not supposed to be in war or occupation or anything. It's supposed to be somewhat peaceful, unlike Gaza. And again, remember, on a map, the West Bank would be like New York, East Coast, and then Gaza would be California, West Coast, obviously with not that much distance between them. But it's a very, very interesting interview coming from a former Marine, and then also coming from, he's also Christian, by the way. So that's another interesting angle. And again, I think it ties into, man, I did not realize how Christian America is. America is really religious and it's really Christian. Holy mackerel. What else did I want to say about Caleb? Okay, so Marine, Christian, and then again, just got back from the West Bank. So that'll be Thursday, and then I will definitely try to come back and finish up on Friday. So we'll have a 4-episode week. All right, everybody, call a spade, and call your parents. Oh, man. I might have a new show ending on my hands. In order to reinforce this, I might just do that. All right, there we go. Boom. We're pivoting. We're making changes on the fly. All right, call a spade, call your parents.
That was a great way to end it.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.